Good day. The year was 2014, and I was on the hunt for a book at a local Barnes & Noble, and quite by accident I found this cover leering at me from a random cardboard standee. I snapped it up and immediately was sadly kind of disappointed when I read the synopsis. It stated proudly that this was a new aliens adventure. This was going to feature the legendary Ripley between the times when the fusion bomb drank the Nostromo and the rise of the Acheron colony. This was to be an age undreamed of. And unto this, Ripley, destined to wear the jeweled crown of the Xenoslayer upon a troubled brow. Alas, we already knew what happened to Ripley, so there was not really going to be much suspense at all, seeing as how this is an interquel. Or was there? You see, I have the sneaking suspicion that Ripley was included in this novel to kill more trees. As in all reality, despite this being an interquel, this novel is still filled to the brim with both horror and suspense. With that, let's crack it open and take a look at Aliens Out of the Shadows by Tim Levin. First off, the title is nothing short of excellent. The Aliens franchise had been in the shadows for quite a bit after that abominable Colonial Marines game and that piss-poor Prometheus picture. And what we got coming out of the shadows was a tale of pretty good terror. The novel is set between the 57-year period between Alien and Aliens, and features a new ship and crew trying to survive against all odds against the foul depredations of the xenomorphs. The novel's pacing is excellent, and Tim Levin never lets the novel drag. The novel primarily concerns itself with the new ship and crew. The crew is alien standard, e.g., they are multi-dimensional individuals that come off like real people rather than cardboard cutouts, and all the crew characters are characterized well enough that the reader will come to care about their fates. And since none of them are named Ellen Ripley, the reader is left in suspense as to just who is going to survive. The new ship is a mining vessel, and is mining a rare mineral used by hyperdrive engines. It's in orbit around a planet not unlike LV-426. As you would expect, the miners accidentally find some foul xenomorphs. They are immediately attacked and try and flee the planet. They are horribly unsuccessful. One ship does get to dock, but it's filled to the brim with xenomorphs, and the crew of the mining ship is barely able to isolate it in time. One of the other escaping ships collides with the mining mothership, seriously damaging it. And this is where the plot begins, and the entire book covers the mining ship's crew attempting to survive. As this is Aliens and not Dead Space, the cold equations are in play here. They cannot just fix the ship by pushing some blocks around. The mining ship is seriously messed up and its orbit is decaying, and there is not much they can do about it, until Ripley randomly shows up. Now, in theory, the Narcissus should be a sublight ship and thus rather useless in interstellar space. But worry not, it's using the improbability drive, and that is how it's able to show up at the right place at the right time, because xenomorphs. It's actually about that contrived. Ripley, of course, gets a rather unhappy awakening as she is thrust into yet another xenocrisis. What's interesting here is that she does not actually take on a leadership role, and instead generally works as the second in command. She is also much more emotionally messed up here as well. She and the crew are determined to escape in the Narcissus. Alas, there are still more people than pods, so they come up with a rather horror-filled plan of sharing the one cryopod. What they plan to do is they'll have one person sleep for 6 months and then switch out. Since the Aliens universe uses the cold equations, they will have to do this for years. Imagine being stuck in something the size of a small room for years at a time. That is pure Aliens goodness. As horrifying as this plan is, they still have one major issue. The Narcissus needs a new fusion battery, and the fusion batteries are on the planet with the mining equipment. And on that planet are, of course, the foul xenomorphs. Just getting to the planet is going to be tough, as their one dropship is, of course, filled with xenomorphs. Ripley and company spring for 20 in-game dollars worth of equipment, and Dead Space 3 up some weapons. They are able to storm the dropship and then land on the planet, and the chapters spent on the planet are nothing short of excellent and are filled to the brim with great scary and suspenseful moments. They do get the engine gubbin and fix the Narcissus, but in pure contrivance, Ash is alive! He uploaded himself to the Narcissus' computer and menaces the crew. So you might be asking yourself, just why didn't Ripley mention this adventure to the company? Well, you'll need to actually read the book, or if you're lazy, watch after the credits. Aliens Out of the Shadows is a pretty good book. It fills the reader with near constant dread, as the crew of the mining vessel and Ripley never seem to catch a break, and they are always on the verge of being killed by both the Xenos and the merciless cold equations. The characters are written well enough that you care about what happens to them, and you want to see them come through alive, and you can actually cheer a bit when they finally have one small victory. The Xenomorphs are handled well, and they are a good mix of boss-level enemy and walking titan of terror. You can fight one, but it's gonna be a hard-won fight no matter what. Ripley is a pure contrivance, but she is handled well and never becomes a Mary Sue, and meshes well with the new crew. The overall plot is something special. It's actually scary, not just because of the space monster, but also because of the monster of space. Space is the single most dangerous environment for humans to inhabit, and the novel never pulls any of its punches with just how scary space really is. Taken in total, this is an excellent novel, even with Ripley shoehorned in, and I cannot recommend it enough. Aliens Out of the Shadows was the start of a new series of Aliens novels that would take place in their own timeline and continuity. And this will be the first review in a series of reviews taking a look at this new Alien series. In 2014, 2 other books would be released: Aliens Sea of Sorrows and Aliens River of Pain, making up the Out of the Shadows trilogy. This trilogy would, in a word, be somewhat generic, but still pretty good even though it wasn't anything stand out. And for next time, we shall be taking a deep dive into the Sea of Sorrows. But for now, I am GeneralLotz, wishing you good Sea of Sorrows and good River of Pain, or whatever makes you happy. If you enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing, and if you can, please consider supporting me on Patreon so that I can continue bringing you this awesome content. Alright, now that the normies have gotten back to their top 10s, let's get down to business. Ash is alive in the Narcissus' computer, and even infects the mining vessel's computer, Agent Smith style. And to show how scary he is, he kills one of the mining crew. But he is almost immediately killed off, and that's kind of a major letdown. Ripley gets hit by the mental illness facehugger on the planet and starts hallucinating her daughter getting facehugged and dying. This gets so bad that she asks the main mining ship dude to erase her memory. How does he do this for her, you might ask? Well, the mining ship belongs to, you guessed it, Weyland-Yutani, and you guessed it, it has the plot contrivance pod from the Piss Poor Prometheus picture, and using the pod's techno-magic, he is able to erase her memory, and that is why this plot is never mentioned by Ripley ever again. See why I said that Ripley didn't really need to be in this bloody book? And to make matters worse, the actual ending of the book is one of the scariest imaginable. The ship dude cannot board the shuttle with Ripley because plot, and instead has to escape in the planetary dropship. And the novel ends with him in that ship, alone, with minimal supplies, and only one Nook tablet filled with books that he has already read. That is one hardcore ending that is pure Aliens goodness!